I'll argue that the MacBook Pro 2015 is one of the best laptops ever made. The only things it was missing was better RAM speed.
We packed this machine with the latest I/O. It has 2 Thunderbolt ports, 2 USB 3 ports, and 1 HDMI port.
So many of us upgraded from our old Mac systems to these sort of new and improved ones that were promising the ability to edit at the resolution that was becoming a standard, 4K. Thus, the Mac 2019 became sort of the hot new kid on the block. The only issue with this computer was it was missing a lot of features. USB ports were replaced with USB-C ports. The amazing magnetic charger was then removed for USB-C ports. HDMI slot was axed for USB-C ports, and an SD card reader was also removed for USB-C ports. And all these USB-C ports were then the vessel for these wonderful extension cords that attached to the side of your computer that got caught on everything, which were the dongle. And as a filmmaker who's silly enough to stay with Mac for this long of time, complained about these features for about 3 years. That is until they released the Mac 2021. This computer was the solution to all of our problems, reincorporating the magnetic clicky chargy port, SD card reader, an HDMI port, better battery life, good speakers, better display, USB-C ports, and of course, computer power that we all had craved for.
To create it, we rigorously questioned the ways in which we've designed and built our portable products in the past.
But when you compare this computer with the last model, they really seem like two completely different computers. And it begs the question, did they make a bad computer just to sell new good ones? Yes. There are other companies that are notorious for doing this as well. I've been a long-time Sony user, dating back to the Sony a7S1, which I told myself when I bought it, this would be the last camera I would ever have to buy. This gave me the option to record 4K, different frame rate resolutions, low light capability, and the image quality was just far superior than any camera that I'd used at that time. The only issue was it didn't have a fold-out screen. That is until the Sony a7S Mark II came out. So of course I invested in the a7S II. That is until the a7 III came out. Why do they not have a fold-out screen? Sony, the company that was the godfather of fold-out screens, why haven't they done it? Well, that question was left to rest when they released the Sony a7S Mark III, the best camera that most Sony users have ever seen. And as a YouTuber slash filmmaker slash photographer, this filled the void. And so I bought it, telling myself this would be the last camera I would ever buy. Well, that is until the Sony FX3 came out, and I then bought that one. Okay, so this might say that I'm a bit of a schmuck when it comes to buying products, but it also illustrates how well companies can release products that aren't the best so they can sell better ones in the future.
Record for up to 12 hours on one battery with a Sony Stamina Handycam camcorder. Get a free anorak jacket with a purchase of select Handycam camcorders.
And with the recent release of the Sony FX30, it makes me wonder the same thing. Is this just a camera that's released at a better price range when really they're going to release an even better one next year or the following year? And the answer to that is probably so. I can almost guarantee you that the latest camera that will be released in 2023 or 2024 will incorporate these features that we've begged for many years, like better internal camera audio. Why it still sounds like garbage, couldn't tell you. The second thing, internal ND. While we all get annoyed about the ND filter on the front of our lenses, companies like Sony, that they can actually have digital NDs on the front of their cameras. This is the software that they have in their Sony FX6, and their FX9, and other models. But this doesn't mean that their prior pieces of software suck, or that they're this maniacal company trying to take advantage of you. They are at the leading edge of creating technology that sets the bar.
Then with a world record
for most other companies. And the films that we make today are significantly better than we made yesterday because of these technological advancements. But how they market their products and how we buy their products comes with sort of, I think, a bad intention. Despite these things being excellent, and despite these companies doing great things, us as consumers have to ask a few important questions that I have now started asking every single time I make an investment so that I don't buy the wrong thing. The first one is, does this improve my time workflow? Meaning, do the extra bells and whistles give me more time? If you were to look at sort of a quality chart of what additional $1,000 adds to a camera, most of these additional prices beyond the sort of initial $3,000 price bracket that most cameras live within, that additional $1,000 that gets added on top is for function, not feature. So a $3,000 compared to a $4,000 camera will produce pretty much the exact same image. It's just more or less, do the extra buttons in certain areas help accelerate my craft, therefore saving me time. The investment of buying a $5,000 Mac this year, which was a huge investment, it's the price of a freaking car, actually saved me so much time because the system worked within my workflow so excellently. So making that purchase made sense for me. So you need to ask yourself, will this save me time? The second one, does it improve my quality of life? Which also is a time-saving question. If the feature, these things do not actually accelerate your quality of life by buying you time and saving you time while shooting or editing, then maybe it's not worth the investment. The other question I want you to ask is, does this improve the quality of my story, or does it just improve the quality of my image? With the latest new Sony camera release that shoots 6K, that's not necessarily a feature that clients are looking for. It's not a feature that a consumer is looking for. So then who does that fill that void for? If it's just a purchase to satisfy your ego or to be at the leading edge of showing off to everyone, it's probably not a good purchase. And the reason why I made this video in the first place is because there are so many cameras on the market now, so many new products that are very attractive that a few years ago would have been impossible to think even owning. And the cameras and laptops and systems that were released 3-4 years ago still reach a standard to which we are happy to watch. I'll make the example of my first feature film that I shot, Dead Rush. That movie was shot in the Sony a7S Mark I, and it still lives to the cinematic standards to which I like today. Even some shots within my own demo reel are shot on the Canon 60D, my first camera I ever owned. This is because quality, technology, will always be advancing in order to sell more products or in order to create a need within the consumer. But things that are universally standard that will always stay consistent: story, motion, and emotion. If you use those three things as sort of your pillars and those few questions I asked you before as your guiding light, making a purchase, whether it is a brand new laptop or something that's used, will become a lot more easier in order to choose. This video might seem like I'm saying don't buy the newest camera or don't fall in for Sony's trick or this marketing scheme. Just be able to dilute whether or not it's hype versus actual need. Because we're all aware of great marketing tactics, incredible commercials, and gear embargoes that make us feel like we need a product. But to dilute that excitement and ego driving these questions, ask yourself those simple questions that I provided you earlier, and also dilute it with the pillars that kind of make making these purchases better, which is, do I actually need this or do I want it?